Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Zaida, and I am here to provide a brief presentation on preparing for the conference presentation. I am a professor in the Department of Social Work. Welcome. First, I want to let you all know you got this. Take a deep breath. The conference presentation can be very anxiety inducing for some students. So I want to acknowledge and validate that. That is completely normal. Make sure that you all get some good night rest, not just the day before, but the days leading up to the conference presentation. Make sure you all put your phone away at night, no Twitter, TikTok, all that good jazz. Put on your alarm clock to make sure you wake up on time. Basically, just do what you need to do to be ready for the conference presentation. Next, here are the key elements that you want to include in your presentation. So go ahead, take a screenshot of this if you need to. You want to make sure that you have your title of the presentation, your name and department affiliation. Make sure you have the background context of the study. Here you may want to include some citations. For example, to illustrate the scale of the social problem, you want to make sure that you also have the scientific problem. The scientific problem is very critical. It is the research problem that you are addressing in the scientific literature. You want to make sure that you have your research question. Definition of terms. This may or may not be relevant, but if you are using abstract concepts, you want to make sure that you are providing a definition so that everyone is on the same page, including if you have an operationalization, make sure you include that. You want to make sure that you articulate your methods and analysis. These are distinct. For example, a method could be interviews, and analysis could be whether you use inductive or deductive approach. Let's say you did a survey, which is the method. The way you analyze it could be using correlational analysis or structural equational modeling. Make sure you include the ADEI considerations. This stands for anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. You want to make sure you talk about, for example, how you as a researcher address any researcher bias arising from research positionality. You also want to talk about any other ADI considerations that emerge in the research process. So say, for example, I provided gift cards to my participants. During this process of deciding what kind of gift cards I'm giving to my participants are ADEI considerations. So for example, I have to think about the SES of participants. I have to think about whether a particular gift card will be accessible to participants. An Amazon gift card may not be accessible to participants. A Target gift card may not be accessible because there may not be a Target gift card in a Target in the community of the participants. All of these are ADEI considerations that are relevant to mention in your presentation. You want to talk about your results. Include quotes, charts, figures. These are things that help to guide the story that you are telling about your research. Make sure you include implications. So, for example, if you are in social work, you want to talk about the implications of your study to social work practice. You also want to talk about the implications of your research, of your study on research. This is how your study informs empirics, how it informs theory, etc. And make sure you include a reference page. Use headers to help guide the reader. Here are some tips for presenting. You want to avoid spending too much time on the literature review, definition of terms, or articulating the research problem. So let's say you have a 5-minute presentation. What I've observed time after time is that students will spend about 3.5 minutes on the literature review. And that leaves very little time to articulate the results, which is the most important aspect of what you are going to be presenting. So hopefully that gives you some insights on how to distribute your time. Avoid slides with lots of text. Avoid reading from slides. Now, if you're doing a poster presentation, same thing. Make sure that you're presenting in a logical order, going from the research context problem to the results. Make sure you practice doing an elevator speech. If you're doing a poster presentation, all you're doing is telling a story. What did you do? This is your moment to shine. The 1 to 2 minute elevator speech should encapsulate your research from start to finish. Make sure that you use your poster as a reference. No need to read directly from it. And also reference tables and figures to help guide the persons who are looking at your poster. All right. This next slide is about color, contrast, and vision accessibility. I want you all to look at the 3 examples to your left. Contrast test 1, 2, and 3, as you can see, are very hard to read. The contrast of colors may cause visual strain, and that affects readership retention. So just by looking at your poster, someone may say, I don't want to go there. There's too much going on and it may not be visually appealing. There is lots of research done on the role of visual and how that affects readership. So I want you all to just make sure that the way that you are designing your presentation should be in a way that creates vision accessibility. Use color contrast that complements each other. Avoid skinny text fonts, which could put strain on the eyes. Here is an example. This is an NFL report that reports diversity, equity, and inclusion outcomes. As you can see here, the red against the white, the blue against the white, and the red in the backdrop and the skinny font. It's just a lot of stuff going on here. I really wanted to read this report, but then the visual just kind of took me back a little bit. So you all just want to, again, make sure that the way that you're designing your presentation is visually appealing to increase vision accessibility and readership retention. Finally, you got to celebrate. You did it. This is a highlight. So just make sure you pat yourself on your back. This is an enormous achievement that you all have to make sure that you celebrate. So those are my tips. If you have any questions, this is my email address. Thank you all so much and good luck on your conference presentation.